Why did you write A Heart That Forgives, the movie? Because there's a very popular song called A Heart That Forgives.
Actually, the song A Heart That Forgives was written by a good friend of mine, Kevin LeVar. If you haven't heard that song, you need to go out to YouTube. You need to go out to social media and look it up. It is a song that is absolutely phenomenal. I remember before he put out his first CD, he was thinking about whether to put that song on the CD. We were sitting at my place and he was tinkering on the piano. He was like, "Ken, come check this out and let me know what you think." And by the time he finished playing and singing that song, I was literally on the floor in a ball because the song hit me. The words hit me. It is Kevin's plea to God. It is his prayer to God that God give him a heart to forgive, a heart that God has to overcome pain, to overcome hurt, to overcome disappointment, that I'm able to live and let live, because the healing that I need ultimately for me is in my ability to forgive. And that's what inspired me to write the movie.
I want a heart that forgives, a heart full of love, one with compassion just like yours above, one that overcomes evil with goodness and love, like it never happened, never holding a grudge. Want a heart that
Some pretty deep storylines in this movie. You deal with child abuse, survivor's guilt, and some things that might ruffle some feathers. Why did you focus on those storylines?
So I think as writers, a lot of what we write tends to be based in quasi-reality, if you will. A lot of it comes out of the stories that affect us. So the storylines in this movie are the ones that were the most impactful for me at the time when I was writing it. People who know my backstory know that I lost my wife suddenly back in 2010. So dealing with the survivor's guilt of that, dealing with not understanding why it happened, thinking that I was doing everything right and that God somehow, punished me, that somehow I didn't perform as well as a husband could have performed, and now she's gone. I can't go back and turn the hands of time back. So that story in particular was extremely impactful for me. But also, one of the stories we deal with is child abuse. We live in a day and age where the internet just makes stuff so available worldwide, instantaneous. So we're hearing so many more stories about people that have been hurt, abused as children by friends, by loved ones, by family. And that hurt and pain and the effects of that hurt and pain doesn't end when that child becomes an adult. A lot of times that hurt and pain is lived out in that adulthood, and we understand that there's a fine line with that. It's not an easy subject to deal with, but it's the reality. And by dealing with this, I think we're able to tell a message that there's a path to get on to healing no matter what has been done to you. Nothing has caught God by surprise. We had a response on Facebook. One person posted after reading some of the storylines. They posted about their own situation of being abused by their family and what it did to him as an adult. And the story, the other story that you mentioned is probably going to ruffle some feathers, is a story about the pastor who pastors the church that all of the characters go to. That's how they know each other. I was very sensitive to this issue, and while I was writing it, I sat down with a number of pastors. I sat down with my pastor, Pastor Conway Edwards, at One Community Church in Plano, Texas. Shout out there, Pastor C. But I sat down with him and I said, "Hey, tell me what you think about this story. I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to seem like I'm church bashing or seem like I'm beating pastors over the head." But in his response and other responses like it was very surprising and pleasing to me, in that they were saying something very consistent, and that was real. That these stories are real. They are stories that are happening. They are stories that need to be exposed and called out into the light. So it wasn't offensive as I thought it would be. Now, there are going to be some people, I do understand, that may not like that story, that may find that story somewhat offensive. And that's understandable, but I think it's the truth, and I think that anything that's done in darkness, we have an obligation as believers to shed light on it and to insert God into it, and let God perform the miracle of healing like He can so aptly do.
Lord, you can have it. You can have it now. You can have it now. 'Cause I don't want